Welcome back to ZE Coins. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern coins in United States history, the 1981 D. Roosevelt dime, a coin that most people overlook every single day, but one that can actually be worth tens of thousands of dollars if you know exactly what to look for. Now, before we get into the rare and valuable versions of this coin, let's take a quick look at the background and history behind the Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States and the leader who guided the nation through the Great Depression and most of World War II. After his death in 1945, Congress quickly approved the new dime design as a tribute to his legacy and his connection to the March of Dimes, a charity organization founded to fight polio. Designed by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the United States Mint, the Roosevelt dime features a left-facing portrait of the president on the obverse side with the inscriptions "Liberty in God We Trust." The date of issue and the mint mark. The reverse shows a torch symbolizing liberty flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength. By 1981, the Roosevelt dime had been struck for over 3 decades and was a common sight in circulation that year. The Denver Mint produced millions of dimes marked with the letter D right next to the date. But as with many coins, not all 1981 D. Roosevelt dimes are equal. Some are ordinary pocket change, while others are extremely rare minting anomalies that can fetch incredible prices from collectors. So, what makes some 1981 D dimes worth so much? The first thing collectors look for is condition. Coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70, with mint state coins ranging from 60 to 70, meaning they've never been in circulation. A 1981 D Roosevelt dime in perfect mint state condition, especially one graded MS-68 or MS-69, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars due to its rarity at that high level of preservation. But that's not the whole story. Some 1981 D Roosevelt dimes are worth a fortune because of unique minting errors. For example, a few examples have been found with off-center strikes, full band details on the torch, or even double die errors where the lettering or date appears slightly doubled. These rare error coins are like lottery tickets for collectors because their value skyrockets depending on the rarity and visibility of the error. In recent years, a few extraordinary examples of the 1981 D dime have sold for jaw-dropping amounts at auction. One near-perfect example, graded MS-69 full band, sold for more than $85,000, making it one of the most valuable modern Roosevelt dimes ever recorded. That's right, a tiny 10-cent piece that you could find in your pocket change was sold for $85,888. Now let's talk about how you can check your own dimes to see if you might have a treasure hiding in your coin jar. First, grab a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe and look at the date. If it says 1981 and there's a small letter D next to it, you have the Denver Mint issue. Check the edges to make sure they're fully reeded without any major wear. If the dime has a clean, bright luster and sharp details, it might be uncirculated. Then pay close attention to the torch on the back. If you can see full separated horizontal bands across the torch, that's a sign of a full band strike, which adds a huge premium in value. Also look for any strange doubling on the letters, especially in Liberty or in God We Trust. A true double die error can multiply the value several times over. If your coin looks pristine or has a unique error, it's best to have it graded by a professional service such as PCGS or NGC. Grading not only verifies authenticity but also secures your coin in a tamper-proof holder and gives it a numerical grade that defines its condition in the collector's market. So what's the current market value of the 1981 D Roosevelt dime today in circulated condition? Most are worth just face value or maybe 10 to 25 cents, but in uncirculated condition, values can range anywhere from a few dollars up to a few $100 depending on the grade and strike quality. However, those ultra-high grade examples with full bands and no contact marks are the ones that can hit astonishing prices. The record breaker currently sits at $85,888. Making it one of the most profitable dimes ever struck at the Denver Mint. The moral of this story is simple: never underestimate your pocket change. The next time you get a handful of coins at the store, take a closer look at your dimes. You might just be holding a small piece of American history worth a small fortune. To wrap things up, the 1981 D Roosevelt dime might seem ordinary, but its story is one of hidden value, careful minting, and collector passion. From honoring one of America's greatest presidents to turning spare change into big money, this little coin reminds us that treasure can hide in plain sight. We're diving deep into one of the most fascinating and surprising coins in American history, the 1984 P. Roosevelt dime. You might be holding one of these coins right now and have no idea it could be worth an incredible amount of money. Believe it or not, a single 1984 P dime has been valued at over $75,888 in today's coin market. So stick around until the end of the video, because I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know, the history, the minting details, the errors that make it so valuable, and what to look for in your own change. Let's start with the history of the Roosevelt dime. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt had passed away in April 1945, and because of his leadership during the Great Depression and World War II, and his role in founding the March of Dimes to fight polio, the dime was chosen as a fitting tribute. Designed by John R. Sinek, the coin features Roosevelt's portrait on the obverse, with the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse symbolizing liberty, peace, and strength. Fast forward to 1984, a year when the Philadelphia Mint struck millions of dimes, identified by the small P mint mark on the coin's front, just above the date. On the surface, it seems like an ordinary modern dime, made of a copper-nickel clad composition. That's a copper core with layers of nickel on both sides, weighing about 2.27 grams. But here's where things get interesting. Most 1984 P Roosevelt dimes are worth only 10 cents in circulation. However, certain rare varieties and minting errors have made some of these coins incredibly valuable. Collectors are always searching for these special versions, and a few have fetched jaw-dropping prices at auctions. So what makes some 1984 P dimes so special? First, there are the error coins. During the minting process, mistakes sometimes happen: double dies, off-center strikes, missing mint marks, and other rare minting flaws can turn an ordinary dime into a collector's dream. Some 1984 P dimes were struck with die clashes, where the obverse and reverse designs slightly overlap. Others were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning the coin blank was meant for another denomination like a penny or a foreign coin. But the most valuable example of the 1984 P Roosevelt dime is a coin graded in nearly perfect mint state condition, MS 68 or higher, with a full torch designation. That means the vertical lines and horizontal bands on the torch are fully visible and sharply defined, showing a perfect strike. Coins with this kind of clarity and shine are extremely rare, especially for a modern circulation coin from the 1980s. According to professional coin grading services, such as PCGS and NGC, high-grade examples of the 1984 P dime can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. And in one remarkable case, a pristine specimen sold for an astonishing $75,888. That's right, a small 10-cent piece worth nearly $76,000. Now let's talk about why that value is possible. Coin collectors value rarity, condition, and demand above all else. Even though millions of 1984 dimes were made, only a few survived in perfect condition without scratches, wear, or bag marks. Finding one straight from an original mint roll or proof-like strike can be like discovering buried treasure. Add a unique minting error or double die variety, and the price skyrockets. If you want to know whether your dime could be valuable, here's what to look for. First, check the date. It should say 1984 and have a small letter P just above the year. Then, examine the coin under good lighting or with a magnifying glass. Look for any doubling in the lettering, especially in the words "Liberty" and "In God We Trust." Check for strong details on Roosevelt's hair and the torch lines on the reverse side. Any unusual texture, missing letters, or off-center designs could signal an error coin. If your coin looks promising, it's a good idea to have it graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC. Grading not only authenticates your coin but also locks in its market value, making it much easier to sell or auction later. Now let's talk about the current market value. As of today, the top-end price for a 1984 P Roosevelt dime in mint state condition has reached $75,888. Average uncirculated examples typically sell for around $2 to $5. Mid-grade examples may be worth slightly above face value, around 50 cents to $1. But if you find one in pristine condition with full torch details or a known error, you could be looking at thousands, and if lightning strikes, maybe that record-breaking $75,000. We're diving into the world of modern American coins and exploring one of the most fascinating and surprising finds in pocket change, the 2001 D Roosevelt dime. Yes, that tiny 10-cent coin that many people overlook could actually be worth a lot of money. In some cases, certain rare examples of this dime have been valued at over $65,888. So grab your magnifying glass and let's uncover the secrets behind this coin, its history, and what makes it so valuable in today's coin collecting market. Let's start with a bit of background. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States, who had passed away the previous year. Roosevelt was not only known for leading the country through the Great Depression and World War II, but he also played a major role in supporting the March of Dimes, a campaign that fought against polio. That's actually why the dime was chosen to feature his image. As a tribute to his dedication to public health and the American people, the design of the Roosevelt dime was created by John R. Sinek, the chief engraver of the United States Mint. On the obverse side, or front, you'll see Roosevelt's portrait facing left with the word liberty and the motto "In God We Trust." On the reverse side, or back, there's a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength. It's a simple, powerful design that has remained mostly unchanged for decades. Now, fast forward to the year 2001. The Denver Mint produced millions of dimes that year, marked with the letter D just to the right of Roosevelt's neck. Most of these coins are worth just 10 cents today, because they're still very common in circulation. But here's where things get exciting: not every 2001D dime is created equal. Some rare errors, varieties, and special mint state examples have sold for astonishing prices among collectors. One of the reasons some 2001D Roosevelt dimes are so valuable is because of minting errors. These are coins that came out of the mint with mistakes, double dies, off-center strikes, missing mint marks, or coins struck on the wrong planchet. When these errors are visually striking and in great condition, collectors are willing to pay thousands, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars for them. A few of these special 2001D Roosevelt dimes have even been graded by professional services like PCGS and NGC as being in top mint state condition, or having unique error features, which drives their price up dramatically. Another factor is condition and grade. Most coins that circulate lose their shine and get scratched or worn down, but coins that were never used and kept in pristine, uncirculated condition can fetch a premium price. A 2001D dime graded mint state 68 or higher, for example, can be extremely rare. If it has beautiful luster, perfect strike, and no marks, collectors will bid high amounts at auction to add it to their collection. There have also been reports of a 2001D Roosevelt dime variety with an unusual die alignment and strong doubling on the lettering. These kinds of varieties make the coin special and can easily increase its market value from a few dollars to several thousand depending on condition and rarity. Now let's talk about the current market value. While most 2001D Roosevelt dimes are worth just face value, 10 cents, some rare examples have shocked the numismatic community by selling for huge amounts. The record price for a high-grade or error version has been reported at around $65,888. That's right, a single dime sold for more than a luxury car or even a down payment on a house. Imagine finding that in your pocket change. Today, as of the current coin market, common 2001D dimes in average circulated condition are still worth about 10 cents, but high-grade uncirculated ones might bring between $2 and $10. Certified mint state examples in MS67 or higher can go for $50 or more, and rare error coins or unique varieties can skyrocket into the thousands. So before you spend that dime, it's worth taking a closer look with a magnifying glass or coin loupe. You never know, you could be holding one of those ultra-rare pieces. When it comes to collecting Roosevelt dimes, experts always recommend handling coins carefully. Never clean them, because cleaning can destroy the original surface and drastically lower the value. Always store them in protective holders or coin flips, and if you think you found something special, get it authenticated and graded by a professional service. A certified coin from PCGS or NGC can dramatically increase collector confidence and value. Let's also not forget the educational value of studying coins like the 2001D Roosevelt dime. Each coin tells a story, about the minting process, about American history, and about how something so small can reflect such a large part of our national identity. The Roosevelt dime represents resilience, leadership, and the spirit of the American people. So next time you get a dime in your change, take a moment to look at the date, the mint mark, and the condition. Who knows, you might be holding a tiny treasure worth thousands of dollars. The 2001 D. Roosevelt dime reminds us that history and fortune can sometimes be hiding right in our pockets. We're diving deep into one of the more modest yet interesting modern U.S. coins, the 2004 D. Roosevelt dime. We'll talk about its history, how it's made, what makes certain specimens more valuable, notable era varieties, and what you might expect it to be worth today. So sit back, and let's get into it. Introducto. And when someone says dime in the US, they refer to a 10-cent coin. Since 1946, the standard 10-cent coin has been the Roosevelt dime, honoring President Franklin D. Roosevelt. The replacement of the Mercury dime with the Roosevelt design was partly in tribute to Roosevelt's leadership in the fight against polio and his role in founding the March of Dimes. The dime is small in size but rich in numismatic interest. The 2004 D. Roosevelt dime is one of the many hundreds of millions of Roosevelt dimes struck over the decades. On its face, it's common. But under certain conditions, or when special errors exist, it can fetch much more than mere face value. In fact, you may have seen someone claim a value like $55.888, usually meaning $55.888 or $55.89. We'll examine if that's realistic or exaggerated. History and design. Let's begin with history and design. The Roosevelt dime was first authorized in 1946, replacing the Mercury design which had been used from 1916 to 1945. The obverse of the Roosevelt dime features a portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt, with inscriptions such as Liberty and In God We Trust, and the date. The reverse shows a torch in the center, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbolizing peace, victory, and strength. The designer was John R. Sinek. Over time, small changes have been made to the die details, but the basic design remains largely the same. Wikipedia +2 Graysheet.com +2 Originally, dimes, including early Roosevelt ones, were struck in silver. But after 1964, U.S. coins of denominations under the half-dollar moved to clad composition, layers of copper and nickel over a copper core, because silver became too expensive for everyday coinage. The 2004 dime is of the clad composition, not silver. Cointrackers.com +3 Wikipedia +3 Graysheet.com +3 As for mint mark, D indicates it was struck at the Denver Mint. That's what we mean by 2004 D. The mintage numbers are very high, meaning many were produced and circulated. That tends to depress premium value, unless special factors intervene. Cointrackers.com +4 PCGS.com +4 Graysheet.com +4 Typical value and market behavior. Because so many 2004 D dimes were produced, most surviving specimens are common. In average circulated condition, the coin is generally worth its face value, that is 10 cents, USD, perhaps a little more to a collector who wants a cleaner specimen. Many coin value sources list the typical value as 10 cents, for a circulated 2004 D dime. NGC Coin +3 Cointrackers.com +3 Graysheet.com +3 If one is in mint state, uncirculated, condition or higher proof-like condition, it can command more, perhaps a few dollars depending on grade. For example, USA Coin Book shows that in an uncirculated, MS+, grade, a 2004 D dime has estimated value starting around $2.47 or more. UsaCoinbook.com Littleton Coin sells a 2004 D in MS60, a modest uncirculated grade, for about $2.25. LittletonCoin.com Graysheet's catalog shows that 2004 D Roosevelt dimes in MS, mint state, range can reach perhaps up to $27 or so, depending on how high the grade is and whether special FB, full bands, condition is present. Graysheet.com One thing collectors look for is full bands, FB, on the reverse side, that is complete, sharp horizontal lines across the bands behind the torch. Coins with full, crisp bands can command a premium over those whose bands are weak or worn. Graysheet.com +2 Graysheet.com +2 But overall, in typical condition, the value is low because of high supply and lack of inherent precious metal value. So when someone claims a value like $55.888 for a 2004 D dime, that is highly unusual. It might reflect a rare error or a misinterpretation of grading or market trends. It may also be a speculative or exaggerated listing. But under normal circumstances, that kind of value is much higher than expected for this coin in standard condition. Errors and varieties that can drive up value. Here's where things get exciting for collectors. While most 2004 D dimes are common, some error or variety coins can fetch significantly higher prices. One such error is a repunched mint mark (RPM). That means, we are diving deep into one of the most collected and historically rich coins in United States coinage, the 2009 D Roosevelt dime. This coin may look small, but it carries a big story, a meaningful legacy, and a surprising current market value that might make you take a second look at your loose change. So stay tuned until the end because you won't believe how a simple dime from 2009 can be worth a lot of money in the collector's market today, with one piece valued as high as $35,888. Let's start with a bit of history. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, replacing the Mercury dime as part of a tribute to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt had passed away in 1945, and he was a beloved leader remembered for his efforts in guiding the nation through the Great Depression and World War II. His image was chosen for the dime because of his founding role in the March of Dimes, an organization dedicated to fighting polio, a disease he personally battled. Since then, the Roosevelt dime has become one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. mint history, symbolizing both economic resilience and national pride. Now let's focus on the 2009 D dime. The letter D on the coin stands for the Denver Mint, which is one of the main U.S. mint facilities that produce coins for circulation. In 2009, the United States Mint was experiencing a unique time in its history. The economy was recovering from a major financial recession, and as a result, the demand for new coins was unusually low. Because of this, fewer 2009 dimes were struck compared to previous years, especially from the Denver Mint. This lower mintage immediately made the 2009 D dime an interesting find for coin collectors. The 2009 D Roosevelt dime is made primarily of a copper-nickel composition, with a total weight of 2.27 grams and a diameter of 17.91 millimeters. On the obverse side, you'll see the portrait of Franklin D. Roosevelt designed by John R. Sinek. Above his head is the word Liberty, the motto "In God We Trust" sits to the left, and the year 2009 appears near the bottom, next to the D mint mark for Denver. The reverse side features a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength and independence. The Latin phrase e pluribus unum appears in the center, meaning, out of many, one. Even though millions of these coins were made, collectors have discovered that some special varieties and error coins from 2009 D can be worth a lot more than face value. Let's talk about that point. One of the main reasons a 2009 D dime can be valuable is its condition and grade. If your coin is in mint state condition, especially graded MS67 or higher by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC, it could sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Some high-grade examples with perfect luster, sharp details, and no visible scratches have fetched over $3,000 in auctions. But the real excitement comes when we talk about rare minting errors and special varieties. Among the rarest versions of the 2009 D dime are those with striking errors such as double die obverse, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and missing clad layers. A double die obverse means the coin was accidentally struck twice with a slightly shifted image, creating visible doubling on the lettering or Roosevelt's profile. These coins can be extremely valuable, sometimes selling for thousands depending on how noticeable the doubling is. Off-center strikes are another popular error where the design is not properly centered on the coin blank, resulting in part of the design being cut off. Depending on how off-center the strike is, such coins can sell anywhere between a few hundred to several $1,000s. Some collectors have even reported finding proof-like 2009 D dimes with mirror-like surfaces, likely the result of early die strikes. These coins, when perfectly preserved, can demand strong prices in the numismatic market. Also, coins with full torch lines on the reverse, known as full bands or full torch designations, are more valuable because they indicate a very sharp strike. Now let's talk about the current market value of the 2009 D. Roosevelt dime. For an average circulated coin, its value is around its face value of 10 cents. But if your coin is in uncirculated condition or has a special variety, it can be worth significantly more. According to the latest market reports, pristine examples graded MS-68 with exceptional eye appeal have been valued as high as $35,888. Yes, you heard that right, over $35,000 for a dime that most people would overlook as pocket change. Collectors around the world are always hunting for such coins because they know the 2009 D dime is one of those modern issues that combines a lower mintage with potential rare varieties and incredible condition rarities. This makes it a perfect coin for both beginner and experienced collectors who are looking to invest in modern numismatic treasures. If you are checking your collection or even your everyday change, here are some tips. First, always look for the D mint mark just after the year 2009. Second, examine the details carefully using a magnifying glass or coin microscope. Look for any signs of doubling, off-centering, or unusual surface textures. Third, avoid cleaning your coins, as cleaning can significantly reduce their value. Always keep them in protective holders or coin flips to preserve their condition. The Roosevelt dime continues to carry the legacy of one of America's greatest presidents and remains a symbol of perseverance and hope. Even in 2009, decades after its first issue, this small coin. We are diving deep into one of the most talked about modern coins in American numismatics, the 2017 D. Roosevelt dime. Many people think that modern dimes are not worth much more than their face value of 10 cents, but in some cases, that's not true at all. The 2017 D. Roosevelt dime has an interesting story, and certain examples are worth a lot of money, some reaching a current market value of up to $35.88 depending on condition, rarity, and error type. Let's begin by going back to the history of the Roosevelt dime itself. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, the year following the death of Franklin Delano Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt had led the nation through the Great Depression and World War II, and he was also the founder of the March of Dimes, a campaign to fight polio. Because of this connection, it made perfect sense for the dime coin to carry his image as a tribute to both his leadership and his dedication to public health. The coin was designed by John R. Sinek, who was the chief engraver of the United States Mint at the time. The obverse features the profile of President Roosevelt facing left with the word liberty inscribed to the left side, the motto "In God We Trust" beneath his chin, and the mint mark appearing near the date on later issues. The reverse design shows a torch in the center symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch representing peace and an oak branch representing strength and independence. Fast forward to the year 2017. The Denver Mint produced millions of Roosevelt dimes that year with the D mint mark. Over 1 billion dimes were struck in total across all mints, but the Denver Mint accounted for a large share. However, not all coins are created equal. Even within that massive mintage, a small number of dimes stand out for their sharp strike quality, error types, or pristine uncirculated conditions that make them worth far more than face value. Collectors have found that high-grade specimens graded mint state 68 or higher by professional grading services such as PCGS or NGC can sell for well over $35 in today's coin market. While that might not seem like a fortune, it's an impressive increase over the original 10-cent value, especially for a modern coin still in circulation. Now, let's talk about what makes the 2017 D. Roosevelt dime special. There are a few varieties and errors that collectors look for. One of the most sought after is the die crack variety, where a visible raised line runs through parts of the coin's design, often near Roosevelt's hair or the lettering. Another collectible example is the off-center strike, where part of the design is missing or shifted because the coin blank was not properly aligned when struck. These errors can dramatically raise the value depending on how visible and unique they are. Some extreme off-center examples have sold for over $100. Another thing to look for is proof-like surfaces. Occasionally, a business strike dime from the Denver Mint shows an unusually reflective mirror-like finish, similar to what you might see on a proof coin. These coins come from freshly polished dies and can catch the eye of serious collectors. A 2017 D with full torch lines, sharp details, and that proof-like appearance can easily be worth between $20 and $35 or more. Let's not forget about condition. Condition is everything in coin collecting. If your 2017 D dime has been in circulation, has scratches, or shows signs of wear, it will usually be worth face value. But if you find one that looks nearly perfect, with no contact marks, strong luster, and a sharp strike, it might be worth sending to a grading company. A certified high-grade coin adds authenticity and market value. As of right now, in October 2025, the current market value for a top-grade 2017 D Roosevelt dime sits around $35.88. That's the going rate collectors are paying for pristine examples listed on coin auction sites and collector marketplaces. The demand remains steady because modern-era coins and high-quality mint-state examples continue to gain popularity among new collectors. So the big question is, should you check your pocket change for a 2017 D Roosevelt dime? Absolutely. Even if you don't find one worth $35, you might come across one in near mint condition, and it's always exciting to discover a little piece of American history hiding in your coins. Every dime tells a story, from the legacy of Franklin D. Roosevelt to the craftsmanship of the United States Mint. Before we wrap up, here's a quick tip. Always handle your coins carefully. Use cotton gloves when possible, and never clean your coins, as cleaning can lower their value significantly. Store your dimes in protective holders or coin flips to prevent scratches and tarnishing. In summary, the 2017 D Roosevelt dime might look like an ordinary coin, but in the world of numismatics, even the smallest details can turn a 10-cent piece into a valuable collectible. With a current market value reaching as high as $35.88, this dime proves that modern coins still have surprises in store. We'll explore everything about the 2019 D Roosevelt dime coin, its history, design, minting background, hidden varieties, errors, and its current market value that has surprised collectors, reaching up to an incredible $25,888 for rare examples. Let's start with the story behind this coin. The Roosevelt dime was first introduced in 1946, following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. Roosevelt played a crucial role in leading America through the Great Depression and World War II. Because of his connection to the March of Dimes, a campaign created to fight polio, it was only fitting that his portrait replaced the Mercury dime design that had been in circulation since 1916. The Roosevelt dime became a symbol not only of economic strength but also of compassion and progress. The 2019 D dime was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the most active U.S. mint facilities. Each coin bears the mintmark letter, D, located on the obverse side near Roosevelt's neck. The coin's composition is a copper-nickel clad, featuring 91.67% copper and 8.33% nickel, with a diameter of 17.91 mm and a weight of 2.27 grams. Though these are small details, they define the precision and consistency that the U.S. Mint has maintained for decades. On the obverse of the coin, you'll find the bust of Franklin D. Roosevelt facing left. Above his head is the word Liberty, and to the left is the motto, In God We Trust. Below the portrait is the date 2019, accompanied by the mintmark D. The initials, JS, near the neckline stand for John R. Sinek, the designer and chief engraver who originally sculpted this design in 1946. The reverse side of the coin displays a torch in the center, symbolizing liberty, flanked by an olive branch on the left representing peace, and an oak branch on the right representing strength and independence. Around the outer rim is the inscription, United States of America, along with the denomination, 1 dime, and the motto, E pluribus unum, meaning, out of many, one. This classic design remains unchanged, preserving the beauty and symbolism that has defined American currency for generations. Even though billions of Roosevelt dimes are minted each year, some coins from the 2019 D series have caught the attention of collectors due to rare errors and high-grade conditions. Coins with off-center strikes, double dies, missing mint marks, or misaligned designs can command extraordinary prices at auctions. Additionally, coins preserved in pristine mint state condition, graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC as MS68 or higher, can sell for much more than face value. The average circulated 2019 D dime is worth its face value of 10 cents, but uncirculated coins in mint condition can range between $1 and $5. However, the story becomes more exciting when it comes to high-grade certified coins and those with striking errors. Some of these coins have sold in auctions for thousands of dollars. The most remarkable examples have reached a record value of $25,888, thanks to their flawless condition, unique errors, or collector demand. So, why do collectors pay such high prices for a modern dime? It's all about rarity, condition, and eye appeal. A coin with a mirror-like finish, no scratches, sharp strikes, and strong luster will stand out among millions. Error coins, such as double die obverse or reverse, off-center strikes, and die cracks, add to the uniqueness and desirability of these coins. Collectors also value coins from mint sets or rolls that were never circulated. If you find a 2019 D dime in pristine condition or one that appears to have an unusual design, it's worth getting it graded or appraised. Even a small minting difference can turn an ordinary dime into a valuable collectible. The Roosevelt dime remains a lasting tribute to one of America's most influential leaders, and the 2019 D issue continues that tradition. It represents modern minting precision, American history, and the potential for rare discoveries. Whether you're a beginner or an experienced coin collector, checking your change for special coins like the 2019 D Roosevelt dime can be both educational and rewarding. Today, the market for collectible coins is stronger than ever, with demand growing each year. As collectors compete for top-graded coins and rare varieties, even small denominations like the dime can achieve astonishing prices. The 2019 D Roosevelt dime in perfect mint condition or with error varieties can reach a current market value of up to $25,888. So next time you come across a dime in your pocket change, take a closer look. That little coin might not just be worth 10 cents, it could be one of the few extraordinary pieces that tell a story of history, craftsmanship, and incredible value. Keep your eyes open, because treasures like the 2019 D Roosevelt dime are out there waiting to be found.